All right, well, welcome back, everybody, to the P18 podcast. Happy to have Mr. John Prothro with us today.
Hello.
Mr. Prothro, he's a proud member of the Social Studies Department here at Perry, as well as most of you know, the voice of Perry High School.
Well, thank you.
As well.
Thank you for that.
Mr. Prothro, again, thanks for spending some time with us today. Really appreciate it.
I'm honored.
So I have some questions for you. I'm going to rapid fire them your way. So if you would, take each one of those questions and give us the answer that you want to for each one.
I'll do my best.
Oh, absolutely. So question one for you. Can you share a little bit about your journey and how you came to be part of Perry High School?
Yes. I've been a teacher in the Chandler Unified School District since 1995. I worked at Sanborn Elementary, then at CTA Liberty, then at Willis Junior High School. And at Willis, I met a gentleman named Joe Green. And Joe used to work here at Perry. And he would always be in my ear about, John, think about coming to Perry, think about coming to Perry. But I was happy working at Willis. And one day after school, because I like to do announcing and stuff, I just sent out an email to the athletic directors of Perry and Basha and Chandler and Hamilton to ask if they needed a public address announcer. The first person to respond was this lady who I didn't know from Perry named Jennifer Burks. And she said, yes, come on in, let's do an interview, and the rest is history. I started working as Perry's public address announcer while still teaching at Willis. And then the next year, I transitioned to Perry, and the rest is history. I've been here this is the 11th year I've been at Perry.
Time flies.
Yes, it does.
Now you're saying 1995.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very unique situation because you have been a teacher in what we would say all three levels.
Yes.
Of a public school district, right?
Elementary, junior high, and now high school. And when people ask me, which is your favorite, I will readily tell them at this stage of my career, I'm very happy being a high school teacher. Very happy being here at Perry.
Fantastic. Well, we're sure glad that we have you for sure.
Thank you.
What does a typical day in your job look like here?
Well, I'm here early to, make sure I'm ready for the day. This year's different because for the last, I think, 7 years, 8 years, I've taught only one class. I've taught just AP World History. And so I have a routine with it. I know what I'm teaching. I have materials from previous years that I just augment and then teach them to my current students. But this year, I have two classes on level world history, which I have not taught in a long time. So I have to prepare for it. And unbeknownst to many, the curricula are different. AP starts back in 1200. On level starts in 1500. So very little matches. So I spend my day preparing and then teach all day, which I love to do. And then after school, I'm usually here late because I like to prepare for the next day before I leave that day, if that makes sense.
Sure, absolutely. There's a lot.
Yes.
In a teacher's day.
Reading essays and correcting papers and sending out emails and phone calls to parents and responding to students. And yes, it's full.
So let's segue from what you just said into the next question here. So what part of your job would people be surprised to know about?
When I'm teaching, when I'm lecturing sometimes, had my students know this about me. I feel my lectures. So some people might be surprised to know that there are times during the school day I get emotional, almost to tears, sometimes with tears,
sure,
with the students. And I always project this image that, I'm buttoned up and I'm forthright and yes. But sometimes I'm that in the classroom sometimes. And I'm kind of embarrassed about that at times, but the students tell me to not be because it makes them feel what I'm saying.
Sure. So does that take a toll on you? I mean, if you're talking about every day potentially, right? You're having these conversations multiple times a day,
Right.
multiple classes.
Correct.
That emotional side of it, does that take a toll?
It can, but what I've learned is if I am presenting something in the mornings, I'm okay with it. But by the third or fourth or fifth time I'm presenting it, I really start to feel it. So it's the afternoon classes that see more of that than do my morning classes.
True.
If that makes sense.
Yes, it does. All right, let's switch gears for just a second.
Okay.
And I know that you're the historical person, right?
Right.
That's your area, but I also know, athletically is a passion of yours as well.
Yes, it
So
is.
I'm giving you two areas here to think about. So
Okay.
if you could have dinner with any historical or sports figure, could be past or present, who would it be and why?
But I want to sit with someone who sees things the way I see them, or sit with someone who sees things differently than I do, so I can talk with and try to get an understanding.
Sure.
Okay. So the sports person I think I'd like to sit with is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Okay.
He's a UCLA Bruin, as am I. But he went through a whole lot that I never had to go through. He was able to stand up for what he believed in and face any controversy coming his way. But he always did it with a class that many people don't even know about. You never heard about Kareem getting in trouble with the law. You never heard about him having real flaps with teammates and that kind of thing. He's a captain, a team player, a great player. And for all the NBA fans listening, we know about Michael Jordan and LeBron James, etc. But why doesn't Kareem ever get mentioned as being the greatest of all time? Who won the most MVPs? Him. Who was the all-time leading scorer until just a few months ago? Kareem. Great player. Now, an historical person, Senator James O. Eastland from Mississippi. He was a very powerful Democrat. He served in the Senate for more than 30 years, but he was a staunch segregationist. And it really wasn't because of people of color wanting handouts and costing the government more money. It was more of, no, keep black and white separate. I remember seeing something that he said on that old documentary series, Eyes on the Prize. Senator Eastland said there will be no integrated schools here in Dixie. Okay. If he had things the way he wanted to keep them, I wouldn't be in the position I'm in now. And I would like to talk with him as to why did you want to keep things separate? Why? I know on your plantations that you and your family owned, you had African American workers. But why did you not want to see people come together in schools, in businesses, etc.? I think I'd like to do that. But would I get angry talking with him?
Sure.
And it mess up my meal?
All right, so let's get back to Perry here for the next question or two. So let's see, what do you wish that more people understood about Perry High School?
The people I've met here at Perry, nice people, nice young people. The students are nice. If you talk about some of Perry's well-known students outside of the district, a guy like Brock Purdy or Jalen Williams, or people will know more about Koa Pete, these athletes who are wonderful young men. Anytime I share, people ask me about Brock Purdy, I tell them all the stuff we hear about him being a nice young man, believe it. Believe it, because he's that guy. The same is true for Jalen Williams. His brother Cody, nice. They're both nice young men. And Koa, who I had in class, what a fine young person. I want people to know that Perry has a lot of those fine young people.
And lastly, we all have choices about where we can work. Mm-hmm. What makes Perry the place for you?
Piggybacking on what I said a moment ago, the nice people here, both of our sons graduated from Perry. So I'm invested here. We would not have had our sons go to school here if we didn't think it was a good place. Now, our daughter had the choice to come here, but she'd already started at Chandler, so she finished her time at Chandler High. I've been embraced. I've seen students be embraced. Our sons were embraced. Excuse me. It's been a fun place to work. The leadership from the original principal, Mr. Serrano, which is carried forth to our current president, Mrs. Patterson, that leadership has helped, the leadership that they have established of love and culture and everyone's accepted has permeated throughout the campus. And I think that's what makes Perry a great place to be.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a great way to end, because that is really what the P18 podcast is all about, is sharing stories and viewpoints from all different buildings and perspectives of this campus.
Well, very good. Look, this has been great. Thank you. Thank you for this honor.
Mr. Prothro, thank you for being with us today. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Anytime. You know, I'd be back.
All right.